profit that companies make, and that is to help them. VAT threshold. Companies no longer need to pay VAT until they have a turnover of £35,000. That measure to help small industry. Company cars, though, a regular target. Once again, for the second year running, scales are up by 20%. Further business measures. Mobile phones are now taxable. The Chancellor said they are one of the scourges of the modern age and that his measure would make restaurants quieter. Who can argue with that? There is also tax relief for vocational courses, which will benefit women returning to work. And other measures, privatisation. He's selling part of British Telecom because he says privatisation is so successful. Here's a surprise. No new national lottery. It was heavily signposted, but there will be no new national lottery. And the film industry. David Putnam and Sir Richard Attenborough, they lobbied hard, but he said, I am not convinced by their argument. There is no help for the film industry. Some surprises there. And, as I said, a very busy budget. Alistair.
Thank you, John. The film industry will make a film called Carry On Lobbying. Of the TUC, Mr Norman Willis said Britain needed a budget for recovery and social justice. Instead, we've had a pre-election panic. That's the TUC. Back now to Hugh Pym in the City.
Well, the economists and analysts are working overtime here just to work out what all these totally unexpected measures actually mean. One of them here is Keith Skeoch. Keith, how would you assess all this, and what's your main concern about looking at it to begin with?
I think it was quite a brave budget. It was certainly tougher than people had expected because it was neutral this year. I think he's attempting to really put in place a budget for business. He's trying to improve the supply side of the economy, bring forward the recovery in economic activity by bolstering business confidence. The danger is really in terms of its impact on inflation. He tells us that it's a small minus for inflation. There's a risk it could be a small negative, and if it has an impact on wages, of course, he's given the companies the money to pay higher wage increases. So I think it is a brave budget, but he is taking a bit of a risk as far as inflation is concerned.
Chris Pond of the low pay unit, we were told that there would be a budget for the low paid, allowances would be raised above inflation. That didn't happen. Are you very disappointed?
Yes, this is a budget of broken promises for the low paid. There was no real tax cut at all for the poor. They're going to be hit very hard by the increase in VAT and excise duties. It will mean more hardship, more families in the poverty trap, while at the same time we've seen quite substantial tax cuts, albeit hidden, but at the higher rates, and of course the very considerable concessions to business. So it won't take us any further towards John Major's classless society. It's taking us in the wrong direction.
Do you accept this argument that VAT changes will not affect the low paid nearly so much as the higher paid, because lower paid people just don't spend so much?
No, of course, it's absolute nonsense that as a proportion of their total expenditure and their income, VAT is very important, as indeed are the increases in excise duties. So even leaving aside the VAT rise, we know that the average low-paid family will be paying £2 a week more as a result of the beer and tobacco taxes, plus the VAT, and it's not offset at all by any reduction in their income tax.
Keith Skeoch, could you just talk a bit more about the poll tax briefly, just to sum up this solution? What do you think of it on economic and public spending grounds?
Well, I think it's a bit dangerous transferring at this very early stage money from local authorities through to central government. Politically, they obviously feel it's a little bit of a masterstroke. It clearly will have a negative impact on inflation. It is going to make it very, very difficult in the first 4 or 5 months of the financial year to assess what kind of state their public finances are actually in, given all these changes.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Let's go back now to Alistair in the studio.
Thanks very much, Hugh. So, poll tax out, VAT up, and public borrowing back in. A caring budget, certainly mortgage relief limited to the basic rate, child benefit back in, more for charities. But on inflation, excise duties and VAT measures signify confidence, as does the Chancellor's forecast. If he's right, interest rates that are still 4% higher than they were in both 1983 and 87, when the Tories last won the election, if he's right, he can get those rates down. If he's wrong and inflation continues to rise and the rates don't come down, he will have just lost the last election and the next election in spectacular fashion. From all of us, good afternoon.
tonight in Coast to Coast. The last 2 dolphins from Brighton's controversial aquarium are finally on their way to freedom. They were coated with lanolin and wet towels to prevent dehydration on their journey to Gatwick. And now they're being flown to the Caribbean. The full story at 6.
Stay with us to play Blockbusters in a moment.
There is only one chocolate that feels like silk. Flowing smoothly, melting slowly, lingering sumptuously. The experience is silk. The chocolate is galaxy.
You might expect hydroelectric and Scottish Power to generate electricity. But did you know that we're also in the business of distributing it? And we sell it, not only to the Scots, but even some to the English as well. Now that's a fact well worth passing on.
Hey, look! Frosted, covered, shredded! What's that noise?
There's some sort of commotion in the mouth department.
It's the taste buds, sir. They're heading this way.
Shreddies, original and new frosted and cocoa could drive your taste buds wild.
To keep skin feeling soft and smooth, it should be handled with care and cleansed in the gentlest possible way, as gently as you would clean a baby, or even as gently as a baby would clean you. Johnson's Baby Bath. There's no milder way to cleanse your skin.
Whenever anyone has seen France, it's always left a lasting impression. And for a truly impressive choice of holidays in France this year, choose Sea Link.
Whirlpool are so sure of their quality that just £15 covers spare parts for 10 long years. Whirlpool, bring quality to life.
I have reason to believe you're in possession of stolen property. Turn your pockets out, please.
She's not mentally competent.
The Bill, tonight at 9:30.
It's a cover-up.
The independent television news will be at its usual time of 5:40. But now, earlier than usual because of our budget coverage, here's Blockbusters.
Sainsbury's beef rib roast, succulent and tasty, and this week down in price to £1.84 a pound. We've even given the price a roasting.
Tell us about the bubble works at Chessington.
It was excellent. I think the best bit's when we're going through the waterfall bit.
Yeah, that was good, that was. All the bottles, that's what I remembered, and also got all different labels on it and all lovely colours. Yeah, that was good, that was.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Professor Burke's Bubble Works is a new world of adventure at Chessington. It beats the living daylights out of other days out.
Remember, don't. I looked in the mirror the other day. Oh, shut up. You look great. I'm getting grey hairs.
Going to diet, are we?
No. But you'd think there'd be something. I mean, something you could just shampoo in.
Without ruining your hair, you mean?
Exactly. So it looks, well, natural.
Shame there's nothing like it.
Loving Care by Clairol. There's nothing like it.
Sing a song of sixpence. The king, he gave a sigh. He wasn't even partial to blackbirds in a pie. But when the pie was opened, much to his surprise, his favorite Cadbury's buttons were right before his eyes.
Cadbury's Buttons. Dairy milk chocolate for beginners.
Learning the finer points of the Japanese tea ceremony is no tea party. If you don't get every detail just so, it's a no-no. That's when there's really nothing for it but to say sayonara, slip away, and relax with a malty, chocolatey Ovaltine Light. Enjoy a little light relief with Ovaltine Light.
Get ready for fun. Get ready for the video of Walt Disney's classic, The Rescuers. It's the story of two memorable mice, Bernard and Bianca, who rescue an orphan girl.
We've come to rescue you.
Did you hear that, Teddy?
From the wickedly wacky
Where is she?
Madame Medusa. For the first time, this enchanting, delightful Disney classic is now on video, so The Rescuers can be yours to enjoy happily ever after.
A Ginster's Cornish pasty. Prime fresh beef.
England, eh?
The freshest vegetables. And that special Ginster's seasoning. Hand crimped in the traditional way. And slowly baked till it's golden brown. A meal in itself. A Ginster's traditional Cornish pasty. Now that's how a pasty should be.
The Diamond Brothers are on the run. Why? Let's go back to the beginning.
You Tim Diamond? Who wants to know? Somebody is trying to kill me.
The body's there, Snape. You've only got to look.
It's gone.
And the phone box.
Yeah, and the phone.
Following a trail like that, you really need your wits about you.
That was close.
Does Tim Diamond have enough? Does he have any? The Diamond Brothers head south by southeast next Tuesday at 4:30 on TVS.
On TVS next, the independent television news.
Behind a great cook, you'll find a great gas cooker.
Fancy a grape, Zeus?
Don't mind if I do.
Royal Insurance insures 2.5 million homes in Britain, and we take a pride in doing it properly. Which means that our Home Shield 2 policyholders can replace their belongings with the same care with which they originally chose them. Look after yourself properly with Royal Insurance.
For those who like their tea to taste like tea, finding the word decaffeinated might be somewhat disconcerting. But when you gently decaffeinate your tea within hours of picking it, then getting a modern cup of tea to taste like a proper one...
Look, silly. Lions.
Well, it isn't hard to swallow at all. Lions decaffeinated tea. Keep the flavor, keep the taste.
I want to grow up in a place where people don't mug other people. I want to grow up where kids don't sniff glue. I want to grow up in a street where my gran can open the front door without being frightened. No one breaks in our house and steals our things. I want to grow up in a place where people don't spray graffiti over our walls, and my dad can leave his car without the radio getting nicked.
You can make the world a better place to grow up in with the help of this free handbook. It's packed with ways to protect our families, our homes, our possessions. To get your copy, phone 081 569 7000. And be ready to get cracking in Crime Prevention Week.
Devotees of Home and Away might be alarmed that our coverage of the budget has swept aside today's episode. Not so, we hasten to assure you. Home and Away can be seen just for today at 6:30.
Mr. Lamont's budget surprise. He slashes the poll tax. VAT goes up to pay for it. A crackdown on company car perks. And child benefit up by £1 a week. Good evening. The Chancellor, Norman Lamont, has announced a dramatic change to Britain's tax system in his first budget this afternoon. He told MPs that the poll tax will be reduced by £140 a head, and it will be paid for by a rise in VAT of 2.5%, up to 17.5%. Mr. Lamont also increased taxes on alcohol, tobacco and petrol, but he didn't change the level of income tax. He said the budget was good for business, good for families and good for poll taxpayers. But the Labour leader, Mr. Kinnock, said it was the biggest climb down in modern political history. The cut in the poll tax will mean more than £4 billion of taxation will be switched from local to central government. Earlier, the Prime Minister refused to comment on leaks suggesting that the poll tax will be replaced by a new local services tax.
The Prime Minister needed drastic action on the poll tax, and he's got it. He was saying nothing about what will replace it after the furore caused by yesterday's leak, but today's sensational budget announcement marks a fundamental shift in government